Very good morning, dear children. Dear children, today we are going to start our next chapter of history, that is chapter number 6, Colonialism and the City. The story of an imperial capital. A capital is imperial means a place which was under a king's control or under control of different kings. Fine. What happened to cities under colonial rule? So children, you all know colonial rule had started, British has started this colonial rule. Now what happened to the city at this time? We, in the previous chapters, we have talked about the villages, and in this chapter we will talk about the cities. Now, children, see, you all have seen how the life in the countryside was changed. Fine, after the establishment of British power, when British came in power, how the fortune of the villages changed. Now, we are going to see in this module what was happening to the cities at the same period. We talked about the villages, but same time, what was happening in the cities, that we are going to discuss. The answer, children, the answer to this will depend on which type of town it is, which city we are discussing. Fine. Now, if you talk about the history of temple town like Madurai, it will not be same as that of a manufacturing town like Dhaka, which, or you can call it a port city of Surat. So every city, I mean to say that every city has a different fortune, has a different type of history related to it. If you talk about in most parts of the Western world, modern cities emerged with industrialization. So if you talk about the Western world, there the cities were emerging with industrialization. A lot of industries were opening up every now and then, and it was totally industrializing. If you talk about Britain, children, industrial cities like Leeds and Manchester, they were growing rapidly. Their growth was rapidly growing in the 19th and the 20th century. Why? Because more and more people, they were getting jobs, housing and other facilities in these places was also growing. However, children, if you talk about, just now we talked about Western Europe, uh, the Indian cities, they were not expanding as rapidly as they were expanding in the 19th century. If you see the picture down, it is a view of Machilipatnam. In the previous year, in the previous class, you have read about Masolipatnam. So it is that Machilipatnam, which was very important town in the 17th century. But after that, in the late 18th century, it declined. Its importance was declined. Why? Because the Britisher, they shifted their ports. They shifted themselves to the ports of Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. You have read it in the previous class. Now, children, if you talk about the 18th century, late 18th century, Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras, three of them, they became important as they became presidency cities. Fine. Now, what is a presidency? It's a place. See, for administrative purpose, colonial India was divided into three presidencies. Just for administrating properly, they divided the colonial India into three presidencies: Bombay, Madras, and Bengal presidency, which developed from East India Company's factories, trading ports at Surat, Madras, and Calcutta. So, why they became important? Because they also became presidencies. Now, they became the center of British power in the different regions of India. So, they were the center of British power. Fine. At the same time, children, a host of smaller cities declined. At the same time, the cities, the small cities, they started declining. Many towns manufacturing specialized goods declined due to the drop in the demand of what they produce. There were many towns we discussed in class 7 that were manufacturing different or special type of goods, but they declined. Why they declined? Because the drop, because there was a decrease in the demand of whatever they were producing. The demand was decreased, and because of that reason these cities also declined. Old trading centers and ports could not survive. Even the old trading centers and the ports, they were not able to survive because the flow of trade. Because I just now told you that Britishers, they shifted their trade centers to the new ports, to the new centers. So that's why the old one were not surviving now. Similarly, earlier centers of regional power, the centers which were having regional power, they also collapsed. Why? Because the local rulers were defeated by the British. So new centers of administration emerged. So Britishers, they made their new centers of administration. Fine. Now after that, what happened? This process, often described as deurbanization, you can call this process deurbanization, because the Britishers, what they did, the Britishers, they made their own administrative center in spite of keeping in view which all were the old administrative centers. Fine. So this was known as deurbanization. Cities like Machilipatnam, Surat, Sirangipatnam, they all were de-urbanized during the 19th century. Urbanization means something positive, growing. De-urbanization means coming down. Fine. By the early 20th century, only 11% of Indians were living in these cities. See how much they declined. Even the people were not interested to live in these cities. Fine. Because they were not important now. Now just see figure 2. It's a Bombay port in the 18th century. Fine. Now it began to grow. Why? Because the East India Company, it started using Bombay as its main port in western India. Fine. The historic imperial city of Delhi became a dusty provincial town in the 19th century before it was rebuilt as a capital of British India after 1912. Now the Delhi, we talked about Delhi so many times in 7th standard also, in 8th standard also we are talking about it. So it became a dusty place, means the place which was not very important. But after 1912, again it regained its importance and it was rebuilt as the capital of British India. Previously, the capital of British India was Calcutta, but now they shifted their capital to Delhi. Fine. Now we will talk about Delhi in the next topic. How many Delhis before New Delhi? Now we will just go through it. Now we all know, children, Delhi was a capital of new modern India. Fine. Now you'll be surprised to know that it has been capital for more than 1,000 years. Fine. But after some gap, after different gaps, it became capital of many rulers, many kingdoms, and all. Fine. As many as 14 capital cities are founded in the small area of about 60 square miles on the left bank of the river Jamuna. So, 14 capital cities were founded in a very small area of 60 square miles. It was on the left bank of river Yamuna. Fine. The remains. Now, children, the remains. Okay. The remains of all other capitals may be seen on a visit to a modern city state of Delhi. Whenever you go to Delhi, you will find some one or the other remains that will show you how important was Delhi with some rulers. Fine. Now, of these, the most important and the capital cities built between the 12th century and the 17th century. And the most important cities, they were built between the 12th and the 17th century. If you just see the figure up 3, it is the image of Shah Jahanabad in the mid 19th century. Fine, who made it? Shah Jahan, obviously. Fine. The most splendid capital of all was built by Shah Jahan. It was Shah Jahanabad, and it began in 1639. It consisted of fort palace complex. Palaces complex were there, and the city was just adjoining it. Fine. Lal Killa, or the Red Fort, it was made out of red sandstone, and it contained the palace complex. So different palaces, complex of different palaces were there. Fine. To its west, towards this west, there was a walled city with 14 gates. A city which had four walls around it, and it had 14 gates. So that sort of city was towards the west of Red Fort. The main streets of Chandni Chowk and Faiz Bazaar were broad enough for the royal processions to pass. A canal ran down the center of Chandni Chowk. Now, children, you all know about Chandni Chowk and Faiz Bazaar. Their streets were enough for the royal procession to move. Fine, it was enough for the elephants, horses, and the procession to move. Fine. And there was a canal also which used to run down the center of Chandni Chowk. Fine. Set amidst densely packed mohallas, and there are densely packed mohallas. A lot of people were living in the mohallas, and uh, many bazaars were there. Till today, if you go to Chandni Chowk, you'll be surprised to see the densely populated area. Fine. So it was at that time also. Jama Masjid, you all know, was among the largest and the grandest mosques in India. Fine. It was very grand, it was very large. Fine, Jama Masjid. There was no place higher than the mosque within the city then. At that time, no place, no home, no building was higher than Jama Masjid. Fine. The Delhi during Shah Jahan's time was also an important center of Sufi culture. So at that time, it was very important center of Sufi culture. It had a lot of dargahs, khangas, eidgahs, fine, and even it had open square, winding lanes, quite called. They were called cul-de-sacs, and water channels were the pride of Delhi's resident. There were a lot of water channels. Now, what is Dargah? Dargah is a tomb of a Sufi saint. Then remember of some Sufi saint, they made a Dargah. Khanga, it was a lodge for the travelers to take rest there. Fine. Eidgah, it was an open prayer place where open prayers were done by the Muslims. Fine. Cul-de-sac, it was a street with a dead end, means the street is closed from further. It is not going anywhere, it's closed. So that means cul-de-sac. Now, the poet Mir Taki Mir, what he said that the streets of Delhi aren't mere streets, they are just like an album of a painter. So he said the streets are not like streets, but it's just like a album of any painter. So beautiful it was. Yet even this was no idle city, its delights were enjoyed only by some. So very less people are enjoying these delights. There were sharp divisions between rich and poor. So a lot of division was there, difference was there between rich and poor. Havelis, mansions were interspersed sorry sorry, with the far more numerous mud houses of the people. Very less Havelis, very less mansions can be seen at that time, whereas more mud houses were there. The colorful world of poetry and dance were usually enjoyed by only men. So, poetry, dance, it was only enjoyed by the men. Furthermore, celebrations and processions often led to serious conflicts, and sometimes even the celebrations and the processions they led to conflicts. Fine, most of the time, serious conflicts. Now, figure 4 you can see it's a eastern gate of the Jama Masjid in Delhi. Fine. And this is also the first mosque in India with minarets and full domes. It was having different minarets, minars, and it had a dome also. So you can see the shrine of Nizamuddin Auliya in Delhi, and the making of Delhi. So, children, this the making of Delhi we are going to discuss in our next topic. Fine. So, thank you and have a nice day.